coming out of a phenomenal Double or Nothing pay-per-view, AEW had a lot of momentum going into last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, but did it live up to the hype? Well, let's break it down segment by segment, emoji by emoji. You're watching Allison Analysis. Let's firstly talk about the Mercedes Moné opening segment, the title celebration. Firstly, I hate to start off negative, but this celebration looked a bit naff, didn't it? In fact, these decorations belong in the trash. It's Mercedes Moné. There should be limos, there should be confetti, there should be everything. There shouldn't just be a couple of balloons in the ring. It looked awful. I was laughing to myself about it. I actually expected it to be over the top, like for the celebration to just be a bit like, oh, come on, you guys spent this much budget on it. But it was too much the other way. It looked so cheap, and it did not look like, it did not represent the star which Mercedes Moné is. And her entire gimmick is that, she's over the top and, an absolute star and all of that. It wasn't great. It wasn't. But onto the segment itself, Mercedes Moné cut, a decent promo. The crowd were enjoying it. It was all good. But then we found out Sky Blue was the person who was the mystery attacker of Mercedes Moné. And this wasn't bad. The reveal was not bad, but it was anticlimactic. So I'm going to say it's decent overall, but this didn't feel as big or as major as it could have. Up next with AEW champion Swerve Strickland taking on Kale Switch, and these two, well, they over-delivered, didn't they? The crowd were absolutely loving Swerve, and him and Kale Switch, put on a bit of an underrated match. I think this will go down as for sure. It's going to get a subtle round of applause off me. Kale Switch I actually think is underrated in the ring, and Swerve Strickland, he kills it every time he's in there. This was a really, really fun opening match to AEW Dynamite, but I am going to have to point out something for a second, and that is since Swerve Strickland has become AEW champion, he's wrestled, so many matches, but he's never been in the main event. It's so weird that, all the previous AEW champions, they've always been wrestling in the main event, whereas Swerve's always just somewhere on the middle of the card. I know obviously this technically was the opening contest of the night, but it was the second segment, and we all know the second segment's not the best position to be in. I really question what AEW are doing here. It is almost like they, half trust him enough to hold the title, but don't trust him enough to, draw segment ratings. I really don't know how I feel about it, and I think he's been a bit disrespected, to be brutally honest, by the AEW booking team here. It's going to get a thumbs down from me. Up next, you better get your textbooks out, because we had the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, the debut episode of TV Time with Chris Jericho. Firstly, Big Cass, whatever you want to call him, right? He's fitting into this role so well, and he's just so funny. You can tell how much energy he's putting into it, and it really shows. So shout out to him for a minute. Chris Jericho also, like I said last week, he's getting this gimmick over, and it is quite funny. And this segment had some good moments. It did. But Brian Keith, when he came out, he just does not fit into this, faction at all. It was so weird. Joe and Huck, I'm interested to see where that goes for sure, but I'd say this is decent overall. Just, Brian Keith doesn't fit in. I thought he was going to change his gimmick or something and be positive, like Cass is being, but no, it's just, he's the exact same. He's trying to keep a serious gimmick, but then not say serious things. It was very, very bizarre. Not bad, but also not too great. We then had Jon Moxley versus Rocky Romero, and this match, it was fun for what it was. Jon Moxley's arm got worked on again, and ultimately Jon Moxley got the win. Fundamentally, it was a sound match. But here's the issue. The crowd didn't care, and the crowd's quite an important part in professional wrestling, so that was quite unfortunate to see. But still, it was a good match overall. It'll get a thumbs up from me. Don Callis then officially offered Orange Cassidy a place in the Don Callis family, and rather predictably, OC rejected it, and then Trent turned on him, and Trent joined the Don Callis family. This was a very predictable segment. I did like the involvement of Chris Statlander in it. I did like that, but it was rather predictable. Wasn't bad by any means. In fact, he'll get a thumbs up off me, but it just was quite predictable. My only issue is, and I'm going to let it play out, I am, but I was really hoping that this Trent gimmick was going to be him, just going on his own a bit, because I feel like he might get lost in the shuffle in the Don Callis family. But hey, I'm going to let it play out. This segment was not bad, it was good, but it was just rather predictable. Following Sky Blue revealing earlier in the night that she was the attacker of Mercedes Moné, we had an impromptu match between Mercedes Moné and Sky Blue. And the match itself, well, the match was good. These two ladies put on a fun match, and Mercedes Moné, I mean, I cannot wait to see more of her on AEW TV, and I'm really glad we got to see her again on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. So a thumbs up from me. However, what will not get a thumbs up is this storyline, right? Because for weeks they were building up who attacked Mercedes Moné. They made it feel like a big storyline. A lot of people thought that maybe it was going to be Willow and there was going to be a heel turn. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But still, they put a lot of time into this story, and for them to just randomly reveal it on Dynamite in a way which felt anticlimactic, and then to do the blow-off match on the same night, not even in the main event, it sucked. It was trash. Like, seriously, guys, put some more effort into this. Like, I don't even, like, it's just a no-brainer. What on earth? Why did they think to just rush it like this? I don't get it. Do they not trust Sky Blue to have a big match or something? I don't know. I mean, what I would have done is have Mercedes Moné do an open challenge so she still competes again on the same night, and there's an impromptu match, which is always fun. You know, it adds a little bit of unpredictability about the product. But then have Sky Blue attack Mercedes Moné after the match, and that's when we find out, oh, it's Sky Blue, and then have a program between the two. You know, I get Forbidden Doors coming up, and they want to do Moné versus Stephanie, but you could have, like, done, maybe even then, done, you know, Sky Blue being revealed as the attacker at Forbidden Door or something. This felt so unbelievably lazy. And it's really, really frustrating because I was looking forward to this storyline and it felt like they completely and utterly wasted it. And to be honest with you, I feel bad for Sky Blue as well. Anyway, up next we had the Elite come out, and firstly, Kazuchika Okada was gifted with a Lamborghini. What nice EVPs. And then rather predictably, Jack Perry was given the TNT Championship, which was quite funny. Then Christopher Daniels came out, and I'm guessing he's the Adam Pearce of AEW, because he said that he's now doing Tony Khan's role, and everything he says is coming directly from Tony Khan. I mean, it gets CD on TV, so I'm happy about that. I mean, he did say Friday Night Dynamite, and it's obviously Friday Night Rampage. That was a little confusing, but hey, mistakes happen. Christopher Daniels is a legend. I'm not going to disrespect him about that, you know. Mistakes happen. It's not like he's making them all the time. But yeah, there's going to be some knockout matches to find who will be in a ladder match at Forbidden Door to crown the new TNT champion. I'm sure Jack Perry will probably be in it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. This wasn't one of the more, you know, eventful Elite segments, I'll say. But it wasn't bad at all. It was decent. It did its job. Kazuchika Okada handled the CM Punk chant so well. Like, he's shut them up really, really quickly. He is, I said this before, but he is fitting into this character so well. It was a great idea to put him with the Elite. Then in the main event, we had the Casino Gauntlet Eliminator. I don't even know. There's too many words that AEW use. But basically, it was like whoever gets the first pin wins. But more people will come out one by one. And it was really, really fun. It truly was. A lot of people from both New Japan and CMLL came down. And yeah, it was one of those matches which, you know, psychologically, there was obviously flaws. But it was just a lot of fun. And you can't hate fun, can you, on a Wednesday night? I mean, this was the highlight of the episode. It gets a subtle round of applause from me. Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland is not something I had on my bingo card this early. I thought it might happen at AEW All in Wembley. And I wanted it to happen then. But hey, I guess they're doing it earlier. And I mean, I'm not going to complain, but like, it's a bit of a weird move. In fact, I'm smelling some Don Callis shenanigans of some sort or something like that. I mean, listen, I am looking forward to Swerve versus Ospreay, no doubt about it. But I mean, this is Forbidden Door. The fact that you are having, you know, an AEW championship match at Forbidden Door with, you know, two people from AEW, you know, just tells me how much, you know, how much faith they have in New Japan and CMLL talent drawing. It really, really does. And fair enough, but I mean, I feel bad for New Japan because AEW really have just looted them of all their top guys, and Forbidden Door's really just exposing that. Because you're now like, well, there's not really anything which I'm, you know, too looking forward to. There's not many crossovers, dream matches that I'm really hyped for here. I would have loved to see ZSJ versus Swerve Strickland. But apart from that, well, there's just not too much. I mean, I guess Naito, but like I've never been the biggest Naito guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, they still have some, tremendous talent, and a lot of them, more up and coming now. They're rebuilding, they're on a rebuilding stage, New Japan. But for a Forbidden Door pay-per-view, this is certainly hard for AEW to book. And also, I mean, it kind of really does expose how they've just drained them of all their talent and potentially used the Forbidden Door to do so. But hey, great main event. I really, really enjoyed it. Highlight of the night from me. But overall, I'm going to be brutally honest here. This is a weird Dynamite. A really, really weird one. And I said last week's, Dynamite was quite weird. Well, that was weird in a good way. This was weird in a not too much happened way. I mean, coming out of a pay-per-view, your episode shouldn't be skippable. And this was pretty much entirely skippable. Not much happened. I mean, obviously we found out about Swerve and Ospreay at the end, but the Swerve kill switch match, it was like, why is this happening? Like, they didn't even really explain, what the point was. Like, the Christian Cage feud is, over as far as we're concerned. I mean, the Mercedes Moné Sky Blue stuff was just completely and utterly rushed. And the card placement for Swerve as well seemed like a bit of a punch in his face. I mean, the Elite stuff was fine. The Jericho stuff was fine. Brian Keith, I just don't think really fits in there. So it's just a lot of stuff which wasn't bad, right? It was not a bad show by any means. It just wasn't very noteworthy. And coming off a big pay-per-view when you've got a lot of momentum, you need to have stuff which is noteworthy. It's as simple as that. So overall, I'm going to say this show, actually I don't really care about. I'm actually going to be, that harsh about it because they need to make people care. They really, really do. You're the competitor company, right? You're the B company who's trying to become the A company. And yes, we know that's probably never going to happen, but at least try. And AEW for so long really have been trying. But just recently, like once a month, you just get these episodes of Dynamite where just it feels like not much thought has gone into it. But never before has that been a post-pay-per-view episode. Or at least in my memory, that's never been before. Because the post-pay-per-view episodes are usually always bangers. And this was a letdown. And that's rather unfortunate. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. I read them all. Let's create a discussion. And I will be back on Saturday for the next Allison Analysis to talk a little bit of Friday Night SmackDown. Or, as Christopher Daniels would call it, I don't know, probably Sunday morning SmackDown. See you guys then. Peace!